Welcome back to Blizzard Abroad. Have you ever felt like you're a part of a group, but you're not really a part of the group? You're not really in the group? Like you understand people, you can navigate social situations without a problem, but something in you just won't let you fully conform. You know, if that sounds familiar, you know, then you have a brain that works like mine. And there's a name for people like us, the social loners, you know, and it goes way deeper than just being an introvert or extrovert or even the alpha, beta, sigma debate. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the reality of a social loner. Social loners exist in a strange place. We're not isolated. We engage, we can connect, we build relationships, but something in our brain, it won't let us fully immerse ourselves. It's like having an invisible barrier between you and the rest of the world. And it's not about being antisocial. It's just that, we don't just go along to get along. you know and the problem with it is, from the outside world looking in, you may be mistaken as, standoffish, disinterested, non-committed. But the reality is that you're just not a trend follower. You'll never be a trend follower. You know, we analyze trends, and by the time we're done analyzing the trend, you know, the world has moved on to the next trend. You know, and you don't blindly align yourself with movements or ideologies. You know, that's the independence um, that makes you an outsider. Even in places where you're comfortable, you're welcome, you're celebrated, even in these places, yo. And it's a deeper layer to this, though. It's not just a personality trait, and psychology has a name for it. It's called cognitive complexity. you know and that's the ability to see the world in shades of gray instead of just black and white. People like us, we don't just accept surface level explanations. We analyze, we question, we break things down from every possible angle. Even if it's not verbally or outwardly expressed, our brains are constantly working. you know and the studies show that only like 10 to 15% of people have high cognitive complexity. And that means, the majority of people are comfortable with just simple one-sided explanations. They pick a side and they stick with it. And most of the time they never even question the story. But us, we can't do that. You know, we can't accept it, and we don't always fight back or push back or voice this feeling that we have. Sometimes we're just quiet observers. you know but we need to see both sides of every argument. And that makes us rare. But it also makes life more complicated. Because we live in a world that loves easy answers. you know and people whose brains work like ours, we won't settle for that. We need the full picture. you know in today's world, this mindset, can make our life harder. you know Today's society is built on quick answers, whether they're right or not. Instant gratification, drives everything. What about nuance? What about thinking for yourself? What about, that's becoming more rare these days. People don't want you to analyze or question. They want you to pick a side immediately. And if you disagree, even once you're ostracized, you know, because today's society demands 100% allegiance to ideas and ideologies, you know, that leaves out, critical thinking or independent reasoning, you know. It's either you just fall in line or you get left behind. And that is why social learners always feel disconnected because we see the world for what it is. We refuse to be pressured into blind obedience, you know, because we're not looking for the easy answer. We're searching for the truth. We want to understand both sides of every argument. We don't just take, the surface level explanations, like we don't just fall in line with the mainstream narratives, the popular opinions, we analyze, we question, we challenge assumptions. It's not about being different just to be different or difficult. It's about being thorough, you know, because, accuracy is not valued nowadays. Speed is valued, you know. This is what makes us stand out. You know, the more I've, thought about this, the more I've explored this, the more I realize, this is why I've always had a beef with the manosphere. I've always had a little beef with the manosphere. I've always pushed back, because I understand the frustration. I understand the need for spaces, you know, for men to vent, to learn, to find solutions. But just like everything else, doesn't mean that I'm just gonna go along with the narratives being pushed. You know, if you watch any of my older videos, you can see that I'm always trying to walk that line. I'm always trying to understand both sides. I'm not going to just buy into something that I don't agree with. You know, because a lot of what's out there is recycle anger, hopelessness, generalizations, instead of focusing on real solutions. That's what I'm looking for. Real solutions, So as much as I want to belong to this space, like I said, I can't go along with something that does not challenge itself, does not look at, you know, itself in the mirror, even if it's a movement. I'm not gonna co-sign something that just speaks to my frustrations, without trying to understand, what's on the opposite side of that. You know, and that's the difference between being a social loner and someone who just wants to be part of a movement. You know, question, analyze, see the flaws in even our own arguments. And even not be afraid to call them out. I'm not against anything. I'm just trying to truly understand the world that I live in, the world that I'm navigating, even myself. And this is why I always say that, I'm constantly looking in the mirror. I'm constantly analyzing myself because I do this with myself constantly. You know, I want people to win, not just complain. And that starts with looking in the mirror. So like this cognitive complexity of always analyzing. Yes, I do it to myself also. You know, and that type of thinking, it doesn't fit neatly in a space that's built for collective frustration or group think. You know, but being a social learner, man, it's not a weakness; it's a strength. You know, because we're the ones who step back, who actually observe before making decisions. We don't fall for manipulation easily. We take our time, we weigh the facts, trust our own experiences, over, whatever's being pushed at the moment. We're the ones, we're not satisfied with just one side of the story. We need to hear it all. Even if we're not aggressively pushing, you know. A lot of us are just, quiet observers, and we just observe and we take everything in. We need to hear it all, and we know that the truth, for most part, lies somewhere in between both arguments. And we're not going to be spoon fed, what we should believe, how we should act, how we should navigate the world that we live in, you know. And it's isolating at times, but that's the independence, that allows us to move with purpose, not pressure. We're not chasing validation, you know. We're not blindly following trends, we're creating our own path. We're trying to understand fully the world around us. So if this resonates with you, I want you to know you're not alone out there. You're one of the 10 to 15%, you know, whose mind works this way. And you don't have to conform to fit in. You don't have to suppress your critical thinking to be accepted. There's other people who see the world just like you do. You know, you know, don't let the world gaslight you into thinking like something is wrong with you, or you're weird, or you're a fence sitter. Just because you won't jump on the next trend. It isn't a curse; it's a gift. And if you embrace it, it will become your power. So let me know in the comment sections, have you ever felt this way? Have you ever struggled with feeling like, you're an insider and an outsider at the same time? You know, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to get a conversation going about this, So if this video, you know, hits home for you, man, drop a like, share it with somebody who needs to hear it, you know, and, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, Blizzard abroad.